Hi, Skye. How are you? So
Hi,
wonderful
Bonnie.
to meet you. How are you?
I'm good. Lovely to meet you as well.
Well, yeah, I think you're in a good place right now. I just
I
have
think
to say,
so.
I want to just get this out of the way, and we'll talk a little bit about Matlock after. I love this show from the get-go, from the very front. They gave me about 6 episodes, and I was like, "Hey, is this for my mother? I'm not sure." Oh my God, I can't. I was like eating it up. It was fabulous. So, congratulations on the success of that show. I cannot wait for season two. You must be chomping at the bit.
I am. Thank you so much for even, watching, let alone enjoying and sharing your feedback. Yeah, it's been a wild ride and we're still pinching ourselves. Like we literally hit the lottery and I couldn't be more grateful, truly.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, we'll talk about that after. We're here to talk about this film, which was so powerful, so moving. I did not know I was going to need some Kleenex standing by. So luckily, I was able to do that. But I have to ask you, Sky, what was it about this script? Like, how did you connect with it when you first read it?
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, I was desperately manifesting and seeking the right role that was going to allow me to show my range in like a
Mm,
more gritty kind of landscape. I'm from Chicago, but I also had that, a different life in Virginia when I was a kid. So I had the riches to rags story. And I had to learn a certain skill set and dialogue and body language to survive
yeah.
in certain areas of Chicago where I spent my young age of 12 years old and up. And so I found myself really wanting to sink my teeth into something that was familiar to the women that I saw around town in Chicago. And so when Qasim Basir, who is a phenomenal writer,
Yeah.
director, producer, and DP, like he shot that beautiful film in such a cinematic display of Detroit
Yes.
that, oh right, oh my goodness. But
Yeah.
reading Asia, I was just like, this is the one. This is the one who I want to play because she has such vivation
Mhm.
and such thrill in life, but what a saga she has to face, and she's
Yeah.
facing it alone. And
Yeah.
that was something that I wanted, not a woman who was um, in denial, but more in survival mode.
For sure. And she has, a good partner. Teaming up with him was is just you guys had such a great chemistry on screen
Don't
together.
we? Yeah, like Eamon Joseph is fantastic. And
Yes.
when I moved out to LA, Eamon was already here and working the circuit. And I had known him through mutual friends, but we had never like really sat down and chatted or worked together. And I was just thrilled when they called me up to do a chemistry, read with Eamon Joseph.
Yeah.
Because I joke, he said he told Qasim, I think Skye might be too healed to play Asia. I was like, oh,
Okay.
well,
Interesting.
that means that my very curated Instagram page is working. Because, honey, that's what I want to present to the world. My dear
Right.
diary is for my close ones,
Yeah.
and so that was quite funny. And then once he and I got into it, they were both like, "Oh yeah, this is a good fit here." And once it was time to rock and roll, Eamon and I, we just locked in. But that really takes great leadership,
Sure.
like we had in Qasim, and he is such a radical visionary
Yeah.
that, and he my goodness, there's so many words that he shoots just like laser focused, and then he writes like a poet. And when you
Right.
bring that skill set together, that's the magic that you were able to. And then he edits like a. I mean, it's just he's an Avenger, and
Yeah.
I when he calls, I say yes.
Of course. Of course. And I want to talk a little bit about him because you're working on off a story that's very personal to him, let's face it,
Yeah.
right? And how do you as an actor kind of, well, first of all, you have him there as your guide and you want to make him so happy, obviously, and show the best story you can. But then how do you also compartmentalize and go, okay, I got to put my blinders on maybe a little bit here because I don't want to screw this up. You know what I mean? Because it's so personal to him. How do you as an actor kind of tackle that?
I feel like there hasn't been a role where I haven't seen myself or my mother or, again, friends and family. The fact that Qasim has such a personal connection to the storyline actually helped for me
Mm,
because it allowed me to be very specific on how I built that character. While I was in Detroit, just days before filming, I went to a beauty supply store over by 8 Mile and I bought that purple wig.
yeah,
I bought the purple press on nails that you see. Like I was able to like really build out this woman. And when Qasim would look at me and like just kind of smile a little bit, I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I think I'm closer. I'm getting close.
yeah.
And but yeah, grief is a big subject and
Yes,
loss
it is.
and
Yeah.
what happens when you don't allow yourself to process that because you are hit with the responsibility of being the strong one.
Mm,
And I've had to face that many times in my life, even while filming Matlock. I had three very close people to me pass away, but I
oh,
had to be Olympia Lawrence. So I had to still put on the mask and I had to
right.
show up and I had to do what I needed to do while my family was all looking for me to do something and
Yeah.
help and fix. And so, even reading the character Muhammad, I had so much in common with how to um, get a grip on that tornado, that whirlwind that takes place when you lose yourself in the midst of heartbreak and grief.
Sure.
And when
Yeah.
he teams up and meets Asia, she is a chaotic symphony, and
Yes.
they are in the same tornado, if you will, and until the vulnerability and the intimacy starts to come out, and that's where you start to see the roots of their pain,
Yeah.
and that's just so beautiful. And again, the way it was written was just absolutely poetic.
Yeah. I want to ask you about the title, To Live and Die and Live. Do you feel, Skye, that sometimes to really live fully, a part of us has to die first?
I believe that it is like a roller coaster. I
Yeah.
believe that that title could have kept going to live and die and live and die and live and die and live and
Sure.
die. And it will end with death. And none of us survive at the end of this movie, if you know what
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
And so I have had those moments where, like today, I wake up and I choose to live. I choose to be alive. I make choices to support that. And then sometimes, which we've all experienced and will continue to experience, you get a phone call, and that phone call can shake you to your core when a
Right.
lost one has passed away, whether you're blindsided by it or even if you're expecting it. And it can floor you, or life
Mm, of
itself, or the world itself. It can
course.
floor you, and
Yeah.
many times we are brought to back to the bed. We're brought back into fetal position, and and it's so important to have someone to lean on during those times, because mental health, as you see, is is very center focus in this film.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that's, yeah, and I think he finds that comfort in Asia
Yeah. Yeah. It's got,
until the rabbit hole just kind of takes him
yeah.
through 2 days straight from hell.
Crazy. Yeah, no, it was just riveting to watch it all. And then you mentioned Detroit because to me, it is such a character in this film. I've never seen Detroit shot like this. And
Right?
right, it just
Oh
looked
my gosh.
beautiful, like the skyline, like gorgeous. Like you said, the cinematography and everything. It was wow.
And yeah, and Detroit loves Cossum. I have never seen someone have such privilege to shoot and move and film and transport the way that he was able to. I mean, you saw
Mm,
that airport scene. He
yes,
shot that in the airport. Did you see the background with mask on? He was at the gate, like at that time where people were still in mask, right? Like,
right.
and Eamon and Dana showed up in that scene powerfully, and did not allow that to distract them. The what Qasim was able to deliver is a phenomenal piece of art, and I'm so excited that people finally get to see To Live and Die and Live. It
Mm,
was such a massive hit at Sundance,
yes,
and
congratulations.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you. And that was such a huge goal of mine, to be able to get to the mountaintop. And by the time we got to Main Street, it was already spreading around through the circuit of journalists. that that night was a really fun party, and I just want the party to keep going.
I'm
And
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, okay, we've got a couple minutes, so yes, we have to talk about Matlock. So, you come to LA, whatever. You didn't really have a plan. Is that correct? When you moved,
I had a
like
plan. Yeah,
you kind of knew what you wanted. You
yeah.
wanted to be an actor. You knew that because you changed careers. Like,
I'll be honest with you, I didn't even really, it sounds crazy, but I didn't want to. It was this weird thing of like, I felt like I needed to.
okay,
Performing arts was in my life because my mom put me in that field when I was a young kid in a tutu, doing recitals on the stage, you know?
we've all
And
been there, Skye.
yeah, we've
Yeah,
all been there. And I loved it. It became like my therapy into my teen and adult years, but
right.
I never considered it a profession until I moved through three different professions. And I realized after military medic corporate New York that
Yeah.
I was just like, oh God, I'm all out of options. I don't know what to do. And the
Mm,
moment I really started to lean into surrendering and, had the most simple prayer of like, where am I to go and what am I to do and what am I to say?
yeah.
Right? Like and then it started literally haunting me in my dreams. Like I would wake up and I would have these very vivid dreams of it. And next thing you know, it started to show up in reality where people be
Right.
talking to me like, oh my God, you're so funny. Have you ever thought about being an actor? Or like, you're so dramatic. Have you ever thought about being an actor? Or Visit California was everywhere. Or friends were telling me they were moving to LA. And this was all happening like within just months of having those dreams
Yeah.
until I was just like, all right, you know what? Screw it. Let's just
Good for you.
I'm about to be 28. Like I've
Why
dedicated all
not?
my
Right? You got nothing
20s.
to lose. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And then, hello, you land on one of the biggest shows on CBS now, like amazing. And I just have two words for you. Okay, first of all, I think that you were born to play Olympia. I think you are so amazing as her. I love her, her demeanor, her suits. She's so confident. She has her, shit she's going through. There's no question about it. But two words,
Yeah.
Kathy Bates. I mean,
Hello.
serious. Oscar
Yeah.
winner, Kathy Bates. You're standing across from her. What surprised you most about that woman?
What surprised me most was just how I don't know. I mean, it's just she's so down.
Yeah.
She's so down to earth. She's not Hollywood at all. She is Memphis through and through.
Yeah.
She's a real one. There is nothing pretentious about Kathy at all. And she was easy to love and to, I just turned into sand in her hands. And from the day we first started acting together at my audition, but at the audition, before I even started the audition, I said, "Can I hug you?" And I cannot believe that I said that in the moment. And she walked towards me, and once we hugged, I think
That was it. Yeah.
from that moment, I believe it was love at first sight for the two of us.
Yeah. I love their relationship. I love just where the show went and that season finale with Jason Ritter. Like, oh my God, so much mystery. It's going to be so fantastic. I cannot wait for you guys to start shooting again.
Yeah. And I
Um,
filmed To Live and Die and Live before Matlock.
right.
And like that was the journey I was going on. I was like, indie films, I want gritty, beautiful art, I want a cinematic orchestra on the screen. Like this is the direction. And so I don't know if I'd have the same courage today to play Asia, but I'm so grateful that I had that opportunity prior
Yeah.
to Matlock.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that the Matlock fans show up in theaters May 30th. It is not Olympia Lawrence, honey.
No, it is not Olivia Lawrence.
You're not going to see a suit
No,
on
you are
Miss
not going to
Asia.
see a suit,
You're
but that's
not, but you are
okay.
going, but you're going to feel her. You're going to love her and you're going to empathize, sympathize because we all go through grief and loss and we all have fears that we're not comfortable sharing. And so we put on a mask and we all have a collection of masks. And I hope that everybody receives all of the amazing work that we all put into To Live and
Yeah.
Die and Live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're terrific in both projects, and I can't wait to see, what comes next. And I really do appreciate your time today, Skye. Thank you very, very much, and best of luck to you. And we'll see you in the fall.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. I hope to speak to you again. Yeah, for
So
our
too. I
season two
hope so too.
premiere.
Take care and have a lovely
All
rest of your
right.
day. Take care. Okay.
You as
Bye.
well.
Bye bye.